Is this the Dr. Ray?
What are you asking me?
Are all people mentally ill?
You know, we're not doing therapy here.
You're always contagious, by the way.
What are you talking about?
As usual, you're doing all the talking.
Now, why would I say something so dumb?
I don't know.
Well, are you better than God?
No way.
Feel better?
No.
I'm going to give you some bad news. You got a problem.
And I guess that's true, but doggone.
I just wanted to call and get some wise advice, hopefully.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica,
and Dr. Ray Guarendi,
here's Dr. Ray.
Whoever that girl is, I like her. Whoever she is. By the way, Andrew, why don't you edit out what she says, wise advice, and then because she says, hopefully. I just called in to get some advice. There. Then you don't have to say hopefully after that because the advice could be good or bad. It doesn't matter. But because she qualified it, rather top-heavy, I think, with wise, then she had to say hopefully. And I pretty much agree with her. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor Is In. I am delighted to be able to do this program. Years and years and years and years I was in secular media, and I always thought, wouldn't it be great to host my own program? And it never happened. And it was great. I think that because it didn't happen, allowed me to be here with you. And this is really, although I didn't know it then, this is really where I would want to be. As a matter of fact, all right, kind of an aside. Well, let me give you the number first, and then I'll just give you kind of an inside baseball look. 877-573-7825. That's the number to call to get onto the program if you have a question about something in your life, some circumstance. Not going to do therapy here. Not going to diagnose. Certainly not going to comment on if you're seeing a therapist. That's not going to happen. But we can educate, give a few ideas, a few thoughts, something to ponder between the two of us. You can also call in to help somebody else. You can call in to have a generic question, something you don't understand about psychology or maybe even the faith or how faith intersects psychology. Also, some people call in just because they have an insight and they'd like to share it. And I welcome your insights. I take notes on them, gather them all up, and put them in books, make a lot of money. And I just want to say thank you for that. Okay. I used to do the national shows a lot, way back. Oprah multiple times, and Jenny Jones, CBS This Morning, Scott Ross Primetime, Family Channel, all those shows. And, okay, it was fun, but it's certainly not anything that was rewarding like what I'm able to do now with you. The last show I did, now don't gasp at this, was Jerry Springer. Ray, you're going to dive that low? Wait. At one time, Springer was a magazine format. He dealt with legitimate topics. The last show I was on, I got a call from the producers, and they said, we would like you to co-host with Jerry. I was excited. I thought, oh, man, this is great. Co-host? It's like a dream come true. What's the topic? Teenagers. Disrespectful teenagers. I said, wow. And that's right in my strike zone. That's right down the middle. A slow curve. Well, what happened was it turned into a brawl, Jerry Springer brawl. I didn't get involved with it. I just stood back. And at one point in the break, the producer comes running up to me. Ray, jump in. I said, this is a street fight. I'm not going to jump in on a street fight. So, given all that, it was the last time I did that. And I thought my days of being involved with any kind of, I would say, talk shows were over. And then I got to be on Catholic media. So I'm delighted to be here with you. 877-573-7825, 877-57 is the number to call to get onto the program. I wrote a book called Taught by 10. A little bit about how I learned from my own children, some of the things that I picked up being a father and what they taught me. I learned something. I was not going to allow my teenagers to set the rules on my affection to them. In other words, if in fact, you know what? Can you hear that, Andrew? Can you hear that background noise? He's not it. Okay, so you're not hearing any background noise? Good. I'm hearing this background noise, and I just don't want it to infiltrate here, because some people say they learn more from the background noise than they do from me. That hurts. So I wasn't going to let my teenagers decide whether I was allowed to be affectionate with them in public. Not going to happen. Their dad is going to hug them and kiss them and tell them he loves them, and the more people around, the better. My son Pete played high school basketball at St. Thomas Aquinas here in Louisville. Now, Pete would hang around with his buddies before the game down on the gym floor. They were horsing around, carrying on and everything. I'd usually sit about 4 bleacher seats up into the bleachers. And I'd wait for the right moment. Didn't want to interrupt anything. I'd go down on the floor, right there by the bench. And I'd grab Petey. I'd hug him. And I'd kiss him on the neck. I'm Italian, so we do. I'd kiss him. And you have to encourage them. You can't, if you're a parent and they're a little nervous about the whole thing, you got to encourage them. So I said, Petey, try not to stink the joint out. He'd laugh. I'd laugh. And I'd kiss him. And I could hear a collective gasp from some of the parents sitting in the nearby bleachers thinking, what is he doing? He's breaking every teenage rule. What is he doing? Look at his kid. Is his kid ill at ease? He doesn't seem to be ill at ease. I asked Petey later, Petey, that bother you when I do that? He said, would it make any difference, Dad? I said, no. I said, you're not going to tell me when I can hug you and when I can't. That's not going to happen. He told me later, a couple of his buddies came up to him and said, I wish my dad would do that. Gentlemen, you got kids? And those kids realize that your standards are higher than their friends' parents' standards. They look around them at the culture and they see, wow, my parents are raising me very differently. They got a lot higher standards, a lot higher expectations. They supervise more closely. Okay. Then make sure you show them a whole lot of affection. Because that speaks so loudly. It says, this is not my way or the highway, kid. This is because I love you so much. That kind of affection, especially from dads, is so critical. Even to their young daughters, they got to know their dad is protecting them. Their dad's right beside them. One of the books that I have is called Family Faith Under Fire, and the cover is one of my favorite covers. It shows a dad with a shield handing a bouquet of flowers to his little daughter, and the shield is behind him, protecting him and his daughter from these lightning bolts that are being flung, supposedly by the culture at large. Dad's protecting the little daughter. Nothing speaks more loudly than affection. And do not allow your children to decide when and where you are allowed to be affectionate. But Dr. Ray, it embarrasses them. Well, then they're going to have to get used to being embarrassed. Because I will not show affection to my children simply because they say, this is not the time and place, Dad, don't do this. One other thing, you know what I noticed? This is a peer-dominated rule. Among homeschoolers, I have found they are much, much less resistant to a parent showing affection to them in public, especially the older kids. It is more the peer group notions in a public school setting or a private school setting that dictate, ooh, don't let your parents do that, ooh. You got high standards. Show a lot of affection. I'm Dr. Ray, 877-573-7825, 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number to call to get on to the program. I very much want to hear from you. Thank you for joining me.
Call now for great advice from Dr. Ray. Now, don't you feel better?
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Do you feel as though life is flying past you? Are you desperate for a way to find moments of peace and quiet? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian prayer series, will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
The Heart of the Interior Life with Elizabeth Jingle.
St. Ignatius of Loyola's 14 Rules for the Discernment of Spirits offers clear and concise, practical guidelines for understanding specific spiritual situations. These rules, when practiced with patient awareness, help increase our attentive response to the promptings of the Holy Spirit within our hearts. These accessible tools assist with responding to the love of God and the pursuit of His will in our daily lives. Father Timothy Gallagher writes, "Growth takes time, and growth in discernment is no exception to this universal human law. Progress in the ability to live the spiritually discerned life occurs through continuing prayer, effort, conversation with the spiritual guide, and all the means that Ignatius outlines in his rules. With St. Ignatius as our guide, let us daily embark on the adventure of discernment."
For more information, visit AveMariaRadio.net.
Ave Maria in the Afternoon is underwritten by the following nonprofit organization: Real Estate for Life. Buying or selling your home or business property? Real Estate for Life can connect you with one of 1,400 pro-life real estate agents around the world. When Real Estate for Life receives a referral fee, they donate 70% to Ave Maria Radio and Human Life International. More information at realestateforlife.org or 877-LIFE-US1. That's realestateforlife.org.
Dr. Ray, do you think that some things are better left unsaid? I do. And usually that's right after I've said them. All right, got a lot of calls up there. I want to get to you, so I thank you for your patience, and I'm going to get to all of you. Jeff from Rockford, Illinois. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Dr. Ray, how are you? And thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
We have a mutual friend named Rose, and I've actually sat at a dinner with you and talked with you. So
wait a minute, is this Rose Malavolti?
Well, I didn't want to say her last name because this is on the open net, but yeah, we can say that.
Well, Rose is a sweetheart. She has 18 kids. I think 15 of them are adopted, right?
Yes, I've been over there many times and done stuff with Al, and yeah, they're a great family, and so my wife used to get a lot of homeschool advice from her. We have 10 kids ourselves, and the youngest is adopted, so that's what I'm calling about.
You see, Jeff, Rose with her 18 kids would look at you with your 10 and say, "Well, Jeff, that's a nice start."
No, yeah, and I'm an underachiever, and that's the way I tell people. Yeah, it's a good start. 10 kids is a good start. So the youngest is adopted from my older daughter. And we haven't told her. And I wanted to call many times, but, and so finally she found out about a month ago. She was snooping through all the documents, for different, titles, and it was in there. It was in there. I just didn't feel it was time I asked the Holy Spirit, when should I tell her? You tell me. And he hadn't told me yet. So I didn't tell her. And the other kids were like, you got to tell her. It's going to be a catastrophe. Well, it wasn't that big a deal. But, one of the kids at school had told her that she's, the reason she's adopted is because her other mother didn't want her.
Oh, that's what they always say.
Of course, I told you that we're homeschooled, so that was her older sister told her that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how young girls can be. And I told her, well, hold on. She was very upset. Came to me and told her what the older sister had said. And I said, well, first off, we're stuck with those kids that we had, but we actually picked you. Like we went to the car lot.
We're stuck. We're stuck. Had no choice.
They were thrust upon us. And so we actually picked you like we pick a car. And that's a car we're happy with. And we're happy to have you.
You didn't tell her she was a 1962 Falcon, did you?
No, it was more like a 69 or a 68 Firebird.
Ooh,
and
sweet.
And see, she knows, the kids all know classic cars. So that she understood what picking a car meant instead of just getting it. Well, everything has kind of gone really smooth since then. And I'm wondering, okay, teenage girls, or in fact, the rest of the family doesn't know that she knows yet. It's just been too easy. It seems like there's going to be a shoe's going to drop. Am I doing the right stuff? She did ask on Mother's Day, should she call her sister mother and tell her Happy Mother's Day? She asked my wife, and my wife said, well, if you do that, you can take all your stuff and go move in with her.
Oh, why would your wife say that?
Because it was very offensive that you don't think of me as your mother, that you've always thought of me as your mother.
Well, first of all, it's a bit of a shock to this young lady to hear this. So you gotta count on the fact that she's gonna be reacting somewhat emotionally to this. All right, that's not a problem. A couple of things. Did she ask why you delayed in telling her?
No. Huh. Well, she just brought it up to my wife. My wife said, we're not going to discuss this. We're not going to talk about it every day, every hour. This is just what happened, and we adopted you, and you've lived. In fact, she's lived in our house since she was a week old.
Okay, let's do some exploring. First of all, ask her. You do it because it sounds like your wife is really going to personalize this whole thing. I've been mom all these years. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to look around for another mother. And your wife's taking this as a major slap in the face. Okay, so you're probably the one to go to your daughter and say, honey, you most likely got a whole bunch of questions to ask me. Ask away. I'll give you the best answers I can. I'll be as straight and honest with you as I can. Okay, why did my sister not keep me? And then you can explain. Well, obviously, she didn't have a dad for you. It was a situation that was difficult in her life. And we said we wanted to give you a home with a mom and a dad who loved you and who could take care of you. And that's why we did this. Why didn't you tell me? Well, we probably could have told you earlier, but we just decided we're going to wait for the time to do it. I prayed about it. I didn't feel moved to do it. And I plead guilty. I could have told you earlier. It wasn't something that I was going to keep from you the rest of your life. So answer all of her questions. Now, if she says, I want to talk to my sister, you're going to have to sit down with your wife and say, I'm voting to allow her to talk with her sister. There's no way I'm going to kick her out. Of my 10 adopted kids, I had 3 that wanted to, when they got to a certain age, seek out a birth parent. 2 of them immediately left that idea go when they found out sadly, the shape their birth parent was in. The one child right now who still has contact with her birth parent doesn't see me and her mother as not her parents. We are her parents. Okay, this is the woman who gave her birth. And so I think that's something for you to navigate with your daughter. She'll come to see you guys as mom and dad. My guess would be, Jeff, she might not be saying a whole lot about this because she doesn't really know how to digest it yet. What's it all mean?
Right.
And you got to know that when some kid at school told her, she just didn't want to keep you. She may not believe that fully, but it probably nags at her.
Right.
Okay. So that'd be my direction on that, my friend.
Okay. I mean,
okay.
And what Father told us, he said, we asked him, what should we do? He said, this baby needs a mother and a father. And that's almost exactly verbatim of what you said just now. and that's the way we've always looked at it, as this kid needs the best start they can have with a mom and a dad. So, thank you, Dr. Phil. Dr. Ray. Sorry, I was watching one of your videos and you were talking about Dr. Phil, that they took him over you, which was
they did.
Shame.
Those bums.
that Oprah took him instead of you.
I could have been a multi-gazillionaire, but I wouldn't be here with you guys, so I think I'd rather be with you guys. But I could be a multi-gazillionaire and be with you guys. I'll be kind of the best of both, you know.
Well, maybe you're 100-aire, so that's cool.
How'd you know?
I suspected.
This is Catholic media. I am a $10 heir.
Well, I figured you probably tithed, so then I didn't think you had much money. So,
all righty, my friend. Yeah, I want to do the Old Testament, because the Old Testament is 10%. The New Testament is 50%. When our Lord says, "Well, if you got two coats, give one to the other." So, okie doke. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you. Bye, Andrew. Give me a break here. Let me take care of this background noise. I know it's a hard break, but can you play some music or something? I can't. I can't. I'd yell at the guy, but he wouldn't hear me because he's mowing. Do you believe this? This is in broadcast turf. This is disrespect. Think about this. Now, I know where I am. They know that this show. You got music? Play it. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Okay. Well, it's good that music is me playing the organ anyway. All right, talk about, I tell you, I get no respect. Tell you what. All right, a lot of great calls up there, and I got time. Let me go to, oh boy, some heavies up there. Let's go to Kevin from Saginaw, Michigan, Ave Maria Radio. Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you doing?
What'd she accuse you of?
So 21-year-old daughter. I have 3 daughters. I listen to you daily. I read your books. I know your position on, a lot of things. Been listening to you for years. Even was in your live studio audience in Ann Arbor.
We had to remove you. I remember that. We had to remove you.
Yeah. Yeah. 21 years old. She wrote me a note in 2022, said she was struggling psychologically and was seeing a shrink and was on medication. And in December of 24, he writes me another note and says that I'm a terrible, evil man and I'll never touch her again. And I asked my wife, I thought she was referring to, we never spanked our kids, never. I wanted to, but we didn't. But no, she accused me of sexually abusing her. And this shrink has planted this into her head through some type of memory regression therapy. And I heard your show one day where you had a couple other psychologists or psychiatrists with you, and they were suggesting how this was manifested in the 70s and 80s and 90s on how they were educating. But so anyways, my daughter has made the decision of abandoning me. Wow. And I know how you've said, let them know you love them but give them that last message. My daughter is going to be leaving in August for Italy for a master's program for a year. And then she's supposed to come back home and go to law school after that.
Stay there, Kevin. That's a hard break. We're gonna talk about this. You stay right there, my friend. This is Dr. Ray. I got a new book coming up. Book about reverse psychology. Our marketing strategy. Don't buy it. I'm talking to Kevin from Saginaw, Michigan. He is not the first one that I've talked to in my career who shared with me that they have been accused through a repressed memory of committing some egregious act against a daughter who is now a young adult and who remembered this happening through therapy. Kevin, you still there?
Yes, Dr. Ray.
Sir, I have to qualify this by saying, obviously, I can't know that you're innocent. I can't know that. I can deal with this from a perspective of repressed memories are incredibly unreliable. They oftentimes are iatrogenic, which is a fancy name for meaning doctor-caused, depending upon the kind of questions that a therapist asks, depending upon perhaps even hypnotic regression. These things can be teased out that never happened. If it has never happened to you, sir, I am tragically sorry. I can't find enough words to say how angry I can get with therapists who maybe in their good intentions don't have a respect for the unreliable or the questionable validity of repressed memories. The research has come out and essentially said, bottom line is this: if you had an ugly trauma in your life, you are far more likely to remember it than to repress it and go on and then have it pulled out at some point. Now, all that said, I'm going to assume that your daughter is completely convinced that all this happened. Not even a doubt in her mind.
Well, yeah. I mean, God knows it's false, and I know it's false. My wife knows it's false, and my other two daughters know it's false. But yet, they, I'm in her 4-page note she wrote me. She said she never wanted to talk to me again, and if I loved her, I would respect that. And so, since December 9th of 2024, I have not even talked to her. She graduated from the university I work at. I watched her walk across the stage. She wouldn't even look at me, and so before she makes this monumental move to go to Italy for her year, I just thought, should I do one last thing, some type of outreach or communication to her or not? Just let it, all I can do is pray about it every day. There's nothing else I can do.
First time around, did you more or less say, I didn't do this, there's no way I would ever do something like that, your mom knows it, your sisters know it, it didn't happen? Did you make it so explicitly clear?
Yeah, I've told, I communicated to her that my friends, my relatives, my sister, know that, but I was told that I shouldn't be confrontagious about it with her.
Well, you weren't. You basically said, I didn't do it. You left out accusing her. How dare you say this to me, you ungrateful little brat? No, you didn't do any of that.
Yeah. No.
I think at this point you leave her alone. Because I think right now, I'm only speculating that if she's still raw about all this, that you're attempting to reconvince her again, just going to make her mad. Now, here's my question. Does she have contact with your wife and your daughters?
Oh yeah. So I could spend 2 more of your shows telling you the black cloud that's hanging over my head these days. But no, my wife, after she graduated her undergrad in last May, my wife moved her back into our family home and is even got her a job where my wife works. And so she has regular ongoing communication with my wife and my other, one of my other daughters. My middle daughter, that's a whole nother story. And she's gone down that route that you regularly describe on how kids say, I'm going to abandon. My middle daughter abandoned both my wife and I. and that's a whole nother story. But so yeah, she's in regular contact with my wife and my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter, who I have a great normal relationship with.
If you were in therapy with me, Kevin, I would have 794 questions to ask you right now.
Yeah.
In the sense that, where is your wife with all this? In that she knows that the daughter is accusing her husband, if it's not true, of something horrible, and that in fact the daughter has not only written off her husband, but she's essentially saying he's evil, and I would wonder how much she's attempted to convince your daughter. What are you doing?
Yeah, I would like to know that myself. But I was going to Catholic Family Services to talk to a gal for a little bit, and my wife stated in the session that, you know, she stated, I know this isn't true, but yet she's providing all this support for my daughter. So,
well, something tells me, Kevin, there's some stuff going on in your marriage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My wife, after 30 years, is trying to decide whether she wants to be married or not. So.
Okay. See, doggone, I hate when I smell this stuff. All right, my friend. Well, God bless you. God bless your strength. And just keep praying to the Lord that he gives you enough strength, and that your daughter, if this isn't true, that your daughter ultimately gets to the point where she realizes, and maybe she'll look into repressed memories and say, hey, can't be trusted as much as I think they could. God bless you, my friend. Be strong.
All right.
All right. Bye. I had a guy call me one time. I remember exactly where I was sitting in my dining room, and this guy was sobbing because his daughter, again, young daughter, in therapy, recovered the memory that, in fact, he had done these things to her when she was, I forget how old, 7, 5, 6, something like that. He was crushed, just crushed. Now, he was either the best actor in the world, or truly, this just pierced his heart. I think there's a group called CASA, I think, Citizens Against, I forget, something abuse. And these are, I believe, I haven't looked it up for a long time, people who have, they believe, been unfairly, unjustly accused of things, whether it's abuse, physical, or in someone like Kevin's case, sexual. That's Dr. Ray. So much to be said about repressed memories. That was the big deal with Justice Kavanaugh. This lady came out of nowhere, and in therapy, she had repressed memories of him doing something to her at a party. Oh, boy. And the media just jumped all over that instead of really, and I remember at the time saying, hold on a second here. Look at what the research says about repressed memories. They are incredibly unreliable. Nevertheless, let's go to something a little more straightforward from Stephanie in Houston, Texas. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello.
Thank you for the call.
I have a question about my 5-year-old grandson who has autism. He was medically fragile and had a lot of medical treatment for infantile spasms as a baby. And so he doesn't speak. He doesn't talk. He can say a few things, you know, but mostly he doesn't talk. So recently he's been screaming a lot, like screaming in the car. It could be like my daughter says, if I go a different way than I normally go, he'll start screaming.
What does she do, Stephanie? What does she do? What does she do when he screams?
I think she just bears it. I don't know.
What is
Especially
keeping
in the
her?
car?
What is keeping
she
her
maybe
from?
tries to put on music or do something like that. But
What is keeping
at home,
her?
Sometimes she says she puts him in his room, but.
I'm going to assume that even though he's nonverbal and he's significantly delayed, that he still has the ability to make some very, very basic connections. So, for example, if she says, no screaming, would he understand that?
He would, and she's been told by his therapy teachers that they feel like he understands just about everything she says. And
Okay.
I agree. I think he's smart.
Then what is keeping her from actually doing some kind of basic discipline about this?
What you've been talking about for the last couple of days.
Yeah. He's a special child.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I kind of figured that was going to be at the crux of this question.
But the screaming in the car, it can be dangerous, And she's been told that at school he doesn't do that. He doesn't. It's mostly reserved for
he
her.
probably senses, even though he's delayed, he probably senses at some degree that he can let it go a little more with his mother because she doesn't do anything about it.
Right.
For example, and again, please don't misunderstand my analogy here. We had a 110-pound Rottweiler. His name was Tank. At one point, when my wife was giving him a bath, he turned and was aggressive toward her.
Mm-hmm.
She dealt with it. She dealt with it very firmly. He never did it again. Now, I have to know that your little grandson is definitely much more intellectually capable than our Rottweiler. So what's happening here, Stephanie, is I think his mom is going to have to get to the point where she realizes, okay, he doesn't understand discipline like a typically developing 5-year-old. But that doesn't mean he can't make the connection between, if he does X, I'm going to do Y. For example.
And what is appropriate?
Well, appropriate is sitting on the steps, laying on his bed, putting his head down at the table, standing in the corner. She can say, you screamed in the car. You have to go to the corner now. Now, here's the problem with that. He's not going to go. From what you're telling me, he's not going to accept discipline. He'll melt down and throw a fit on her, and she won't know what to do, correct?
Correct.
Exactly. Now, she's got
when
herself.
I was recently there, he was doing that. So I put my hand over his mouth, and I said to him very firmly, no screaming. And he gave me this look that was like, how dare you touch me?
Exactly.
And then he kind of slumped off and, but he did stop. I mean, that's not discipline per se, but it's like, I didn't know what to do.
Well, you put a limit on it. You basically made it, I'm not going to try to distract you. I'm not going to turn the radio on. I'm not going to pull this car over.
Yes.
You did it. You conveyed a message. I see this all the time with kids, and I'll tell you, autism has exploded, flat out exploded, and I am all for the government exploring why this has happened. Something has happened. So given that, many parents with an autistic kid or even someone on the spectrum are really reluctant to discipline because their question is, what does he understand? What does he understand? He understands, in most cases, enough to make the connection. If I do X, Y is going to happen because my parent is going to do it. Now, Stephanie, the problem your daughter has is that up to this point, in his limited understanding, he probably perceives his mother as having no authority. None.
I would agree to that.
He perceives enough that at school, he perceives he can't scream. For whatever the reason, we don't know what is going on inside his head in terms of language, but he knows don't do this at school.
Well, she says he's just frustrated because he can't talk. And I say, no, he's frustrated because you won't give him what you want, so he screams until you give in.
There's probably some truth to what you're saying. And it's
right.
Stephanie, it's going to come down to this. She's going to have to decide, I got to start doing something about this, because one of the things I see all the time is that when a kid is on the autistic spectrum and the parent is reluctant to put in some structure and discipline, that child gets bigger and he gets more aggressive, more resistant, more defiant, and it gets to the point where he's 11 years old and they're tearing their hair out because flat out they cannot control this kid because he's just punched them for the fourth time.
Well, let me ask you a question. So she has two other older children, and her discipline with them is the same, it's non-existent. So would you say that in the case of the autistic child, that he's going to be worse than they will? Because, I mean, she's going to have to, do you understand my question?
I think he will be more unpredictable, yes.
Okay.
Because he will get into a bigger body with limited understanding. At least those older kids will be able to make some connections that if in fact they're undisciplined at home, they will be able to think it through that they can be disciplined in other places, and that may enter some element of self-control. But with him at age 10, and he's functioning as a 3-year-old, no, he's got a 10-year-old body with a 3-year-old impulse control.
Yes.
So I got to let you go on past break.
Okay.
Thanks for the call, Stephanie. This is Dr. Ray.
Brought to you by the nonprofit Seton Home Study.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray Guarendi here. You want to pass the Catholic faith on to your children? A very good way is to teach your children at home. You want to protect your kids from the toxic culture that surrounds us? Do you want to have a greater influence than what your kids are learning? Once more, a great way is to teach your children at home. No teacher is going to care about your kids as much as you do. Seton Home Study School is the best way to teach your children at home. Go to setonhome.org. setonhome.org.
My dad used to say, Berkata ila min lipa. In English, it means blessings come from the heart, meaning the true blessings, acts of kindness, generosity, love, and goodwill are most meaningful and impactful when they're given sincerely with genuine emotion and intention. Sincerity matters. Blessings or good deeds are most valuable when it comes from a place of genuine care, not obligation or self-interest. Emotional connections, when someone gives from the heart, their actions carry emotional weight, making the recipient feel truly valued and loved. And finally, authentic giving. Whether it's a prayer, a compliment, help, or a gift, its power comes not from its form or size, but from the love and authenticity behind it. In essence, this saying reminds us that true worth of a blessing lies not in the act itself, but in the heartfelt intention behind it. This has been a Christ-centered communication message. I'm Vanessa Denhagarmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
Light of the East, weekends on Ave Maria Radio.
I'm Father Thomas Loya. This week on Ave Maria,
Orientale Lumen, translated Light of the East, the title of St. John Paul II's document on the Eastern Catholic Churches. It is the title of a radio program and a series of ecumenical conferences now in their 30th year.
Now on Ave Maria Radio's newest FM stations, 105.5 FM in Southfield and 107.9 FM in Ann Arbor.
What a delight to be able to do this program with you. Brian from Sunbury, Ohio. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Dr. Ray, how you doing?
Hey, thank you for the call. Doing good.
So I got a question. Actually, I got a couple questions, but so my son, what I called before, he does have ADHD, and he does have autism, and he's off some of his medication for the summer on a summer break. But I've noticed recently that he's wanting to hold hands a lot when we walk the dog. And he's 13 years old, and I don't know. I kind of feel kind of weird about it because he's 13 years old, and I didn't know how if I need to embrace that, or I mean, I love him. I love showing him affection, just like you did with your son. But I don't know. Just trying to get your thoughts on it.
What is it that makes you feel uneasy about?
Because he's 13 years old. He's walking, with his dad. He's, a man and a young man holding hands, walking down the road.
The image, huh? What it looks like.
Yeah.
Would he feel the same if you walk down the road with him and you put your arm around his shoulder?
Actually, I did that instead, and I said I like this better. So
does he say I like it better?
I mean, he not really. He just kind of wanted to hold hands. He says I don't know. Just he says it makes him feel more comfortable. So,
well, you say he's on the spectrum of autism. So given that, what's his developmental age? Younger?
Yeah, he has some immaturity to him.
Well, how much?
Yeah,
Are we talking?
I would say probably like a couple of years.
Okay, so
like
10, 11, 11-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
So to him, it's still a very innocent thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can fill it with meaning. You can say, gee, is this something that he's having some struggle with in his own identity? Probably not. I mean, I can't tell you from this distance, but if you just ask me, say, why do you like holding hands, son? What is it? What is it about holding hands you think so nice? Well, Dad, I just feel safe when you're there. Okay, we'll do it. I think people looking at you with your son holding hands, if you're worried about image, the vast majority of them, especially the women, are going to say, that's beautiful. Look at that. That young man holding hands with his dad. That's like me kissing Petey on the neck in front of all the people in the basketball game. His old man kissed him. Mm-hmm. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I punched him. After I kissed him, then I punched him. Not hard.
I got another quick question real quick. Get your take on this. So I just read about micronutrient deficiency with kids with ADHD. I don't think so much with autism, but have you heard anything or read anything about that being low in iron or magnesium?
I know there was a lot of research early on with ADHD talking about the food aspect of it, and a lot of it was not borne out. Okay, ADHD seems to be a developmental disorder, temperamental end of the continuum. But that said, you can never rule out that there could be stuff going on that is impacting all this. But here's the one thing I would say about this. If your son was diagnosed this 7 years ago, 8 years ago, then essentially what you would be saying is whatever it was in the micronutrient deficiency has been going on for 7 years, whatever that might be. So I would imagine that people who push forth that theory, the first thing I would be nervous about is, are they selling a product? Okay, that's the first thing. That is so common now because nutrients are not really monitored by the FDA. So you can, clinical studies have shown that 32% of children diagnosed ADHD are deficient in. Now, our product will make that up. Okay, if that's what you're seeing, I'd be real cautious, if not skeptical. First thing. Second thing is, if it's some legitimate research, where's it coming from? It's coming from a university. Has it been replicated? And in all likelihood, here's the other thing I would say to you. You did not ask this question. You said your son has a developmental age perhaps around 10 or 11, correct?
That is correct.
ADHD is impulse control or distractibility, depending. Inappropriate, extreme, to mental age, not chronological age. So if your young man has been diagnosed on the autistic spectrum and his mental age is roughly 10 or 11, then saying, well, he doesn't have the attention span, he doesn't have the impulse control, he's too distractible, that has to be compared to kids ages 10 and 11, not kids ages 13. Just a point to consider. Thank you, my friend. I got to run. I'm going to be out of break here. Claudia, you call back, please. We will get to you. I promise. You're first up. Delighted to be with you, as always. Major privilege. Appreciate it so very, very much. Hey, I didn't get a chance to even mention about coming to the Quest. Go to thequest.com and sign up for the TV show. I'll get more details on that. This is Dr. Ray. Walk with God. Most peaceful walk you'll have.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.